Hey, welcome back to Everything About Nothing. This is Tobenna again, discussing a question I feel like most people don't ask themselves. What makes you happy? I'm not talking about what makes everybody else happy, and I know for a lot of us we'll equate it back to our family or to our job or to our sport for a lot of us athletes. But like I'm talking about deep down and personally, what makes you happy? If you were to take away all the external things that revolve around you doing something for others, what makes you happy? And that's a question I feel like most people don't ask themselves and struggle with when that thing that they thought made them happy is taken away. And for a lot of us athletes and for a lot of people who transition out of a career, whatever the case is, that's the biggest thing that we struggle with answering. What makes us happy? And I want to look at you and I want you to be understanding that until you are able to answer that question, you'll continuously keep searching for things to put in that box to fulfill your life. We're gonna listen to a video from Thierry Henry. He's a famous. I'm pretty sure I'm saying his name wrong, but he's a famous footballer. He played for the Premier League, and he sat down with Stephen Bartlett on a Diary CEO podcast to discuss how life after sports really impacted his life. He makes a lot of promising points in the episode where he talks about some deep lessons that he had to learn pretty much growing up that essentially for him really impacted his life to the point where, and I don't want to spoil it too much. I'm not going to spoil it, but we're going to react to it. But one of the biggest things I took away from that was the aspect of like what made him happy. And sometimes depression looks different for a lot of people. There's high functioning depression. There's people who struggle with depressive episodes, whether it's through certain ruts that may span over time, but we don't sometimes address those issues. We try to find different ways to distract ourselves, whether it's going to an event or traveling or hanging out with your significant other, but we're still masking the real problem is, what am I missing? What am I trying to cover up? What am I trying to run away from that's stopping me from being truly happy? That inside child that I've always never got the validation or got the I love you when I was a kid, and now I have to do things to please people to feel that is not normal. Let me influence you. You shouldn't have to do to receive love. You shouldn't have to do to receive happiness. You shouldn't have to do to receive fulfillment. Because if you're constantly doing things to receive, was it really yours to begin with?
Had to be the tough guy, but also I always thought those mental health challenges happened to other people. So there was almost a bit of struggle with my own sort of shame and accepting my own vulnerability that, like, do I talk to someone about this or do I keep it to myself? When you're in that room in COVID and you're crying every day and you don't know why, at that point, do you have someone that you can talk to about how you're feeling truly and be 100% honest with how you're feeling? All these years later, you must have been what, in your 40s?
Yeah, it was 2020. It's tough. It's tough because I'm trying to bring myself there. Uh, it's very difficult because I don't know who the human being was. Like I don't know. I just didn't know. Like I said to you, I go back. I didn't have those dolls. I didn't have those tools. I didn't know. I just didn't know. Everything was new for me. That part of my body, those dolls that I didn't have before, the understanding of that side of the game, talking about life, actually dealing with love. It was weird, weird. My way of dealing with love was like, like I said again, like giving presents to people. Oh my God, I'm happy. Then I ask myself that question: What makes you happy, Thierry? Oof. What makes you happy? Obviously, my kids. But again, it's my kids. What makes you happy? I had zero answer.
And that question is powerful in itself. Because I think if we all look into ourselves and really ask ourselves, what makes us happy? A lot of people would be stumped. They wouldn't have the answer to it. Because as people, we've never really sometimes taken the time to think of ourselves. We're always thinking of what we can do for others. And I think there's a selfishness of being intentional about yourself that we do a really poor job about. We're intentional at work. We're intentional with our families. We're intentional in our church community. We're intentional in our schooling. But when it comes to us, it's kind of like whatever. We're not intentional how we live our lives. We're not intentional of how we are taking care of ourselves. That's why sometimes when you'll you're wrapped up in your career, your job, or your ministry, and everything else is getting the TLC 10 love and care except you. And it's so easy for us to rush to somebody else's aid when they're in times of despair. But when it comes to us, we think that we can do it alone. Those moments that feel like heavy, those moments that feel like, man, when you finally sit down after pleasing every other responsibility that you have, and it's like, man, what do I do that brings me actual peace and happiness?
Zero. So when it's kind of weird because when you look at it, this is what I would like to achieve, but it's virtually impossible. Whether you act with your brain or you act with your heart, and at times both feels good, especially with your heart because it brings in different emotions. And when you act with your brain, it's a bit more no, I'm not doing it. Yeah, it's like let's see what's gonna happen, right? But both, if you can balance, right, your thoughts and the way you act, and you can walk on the rope, like the funeral we call them tightrope, yes. And you are walking on there in harmony with your inner child, connected, balancing decision with your heart and decision with your brain. That's in my head the image of the perfect human being.
That visual is important. I really don't want to just like to gloss over that because he just really detailed and outlined the power dynamic that we have internally with our passions of the heart, but then the clinical aspect of our brain, right? One is telling you, like you said, just go with the flow. Let's see what could happen. And then one is like, but what if this does happen? Let's let's not take the chance. What one is going to be more for your benefit to, mitigate, incidents, and one is going to tell you to just jump, and even if it happens, we'll be okay. That constant battle of what if and even if is the true definition of being a human, right? And he really brought it back to our child, right, inner child, because as you're continuously going through each day, you're having those thoughts, those battles. Like, man, I can go do this. I believe in myself. Let's just try this. Let's go and do this. But then it's like the logical aspect of you is like, man, we have finances, we have responsibilities. We can't just take that. We can't just take that leap because what if it doesn't work out? Now we're back to square zero, and we don't want. We remember what happened last time, and that dynamic is so strong. Because a lot of times, that's what we kind of get in that quote unquote analysis paralysis. Where are you in your life right now where that analysis paralysis has held you incapable of making a decision? And it can be something as simple as where am I going to go eat for lunch? I know this spot, it looks really, really good. We've tried it a bajillion times. I know what I'm going to get. I know the satisfaction I'm going to get. Or we can see this spot we saw on TikTok or social media, and my friend referenced it. The menu looks eclectic, but I don't know if I'll like it or not. That is in everything that we're doing every single day. When we're getting out of bed, it's like, man, I want to feel good. I want to sleep. Your heart's like, man, enjoy it. But your brain's like, hey, get up. We got to work out because if we don't, we'll get out of shape. We want to look good. We have summer. We have that power dynamic that we're having to continuously keep struggling with. And as athletes, and somebody who's we're in that next phase of our lives, we're constantly struggling with, I can do this. I was an athlete. I've overcome so many obstacles in my career. I can go and do so many great things in my life man, I don't know what I'm good at. And what if it doesn't work? I don't think I have the skill set to be able to achieve that because I've never done it. All I know how to do is throw a football, hit a ball, catch a pass, tackle, like all the little things that the limiting beliefs that sometimes our logical mind presents itself is really detrimental to our heart and our health if we don't balance it. And it's a constant title. There's no one day one is better than the other. It's just which one are you able to balance both decisions, because you don't want to go all into one and be at square zero and put yourself in some nefarious things, but you don't want to miss out on opportunities because you were too scared to take that next step because you were always worrying about the what if.
Being on a tightrope with your inner child, balancing decision with your brain and with your heart. Because if you decide on the fall, although you are in harmony with your inner child, if you go that way, you're also going to fall, which we all know it's impossible. But that's, so I had to, in my head, create that picture. And I have the tattoo of it, by the way. But I had to create that picture in order to see what I'm aiming for. I needed that. I needed something, you know, before it was, you're trying to please your dad, whether I was aware or not aware of it. Doesn't matter. It was in it. What am I trying to do now? What is it? So I had to draw something.
In that room, did you know if I was in a room in the pandemic and I'd been, the superstar athlete, and then I find myself in a situation where I'm crying in the hotel or in the room, are you self-diagnosing? Do you understand what that is at the time?
No, but I had to do it. So the body, okay, the body does heal itself. Well, if it's going to be beautiful or not, will eventually, in a certain way, heal itself. And then even if you walk in a weird way after, you will walk, your body will readjust or not. Why can you not heal yourself alone mentally? To a certain degree, because you need help. I understand that. But this is what I'm saying. If you're exposed to something for so long, it would have an impact on you. Somehow along the way, you did adapt to it. Like you will adapt to living in a hot country or in a cold country. I go and said, how can you live here? You're like, I grew up here, man. Boom, I must have been in depression. Just ring a bell. More, do something about it, obviously. I adapted to a certain way. That doesn't mean I'm walking straight. I'm walking. You gotta put one foot and another one and walk. That's what I've been told since I'm young. Doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter your job. You gotta walk. You gotta stand.
I think he talks about the premise that I talk about a lot in life, right? Life is going to find different ways to humble you. It's going to find different ways to surprise you. And I say being fearless is not the absence of fear, but it's the consistent effort of showing up every single day. Showing up every single day is not pretty. It's not comfortable. It sometimes doesn't even make any sense. But we talked about that. Taking steps every day, you have to move. You have to show up because the necessary understanding that people want to feel like, right? If I stay in that same situation, like if I lie down and I don't move, I know what to expect. Nothing is going to happen. But if I continuously keep moving and I keep showing up and I keep taking those necessary steps, whether it's just doing that, applying for that job, whether it's going and working out and showing up every day at the gym, showing up at a career that you might not love, showing up in a sales job, prospecting, whatever the case is, I'm opening myself to new opportunities. And that the unknown heavens that we have to continuously keep searching for and striving for in comparison to the known hells that sometimes we live because if it's familiar, we know it. And that's why a lot of us sometimes we relapse on things that feel comfortable but not might not be beneficial to our health. And I say that as someone who struggled with addiction, who struggled with so many different vices because it felt comfortable. Allowed me to detach, allowed me to feel comfortable in life. And I tell people, we don't want comfort. I think in a life that is worth living and a life that makes sense. And we want fulfillment. And every single day that you get up and you have the opportunity to just show up and take those steps, even if you don't know what you're doing, you'll feel fulfilled in the aspect of you showed up and you didn't just lay down. And I'll let him discuss a little bit more about that because I think that this is such a poignant topic because it applies to everybody regardless of what part of your life you're in.
The CEs, whatever it is, you gotta stand and walk. And people have a way harder life than I had, obviously. But I'm just saying it doesn't matter. I have to get up and walk. So do I realize because I never stopped walking? Then maybe I would have realized COVID. I stopped walking because I couldn't put a foot after. And again, I couldn't. I just couldn't still. So that's why I was like, oh, I need to pause. Then you start to realize, and you start to overthink, then you start to whatever. I know it's kind of a cliche one. You need to stand. It's not how you fall, it's how you stand. Yeah, we all know, right? Not trying to be, clever here, but I've been told, keep on walking.
I say this because your story brings to light a bunch of statistics that I was reading about as it relates to mental health. someone dies by suicide in the UK every 90 minutes. 76% of these are male. 25 attempts for every death. Single biggest cause of death for men under the age of 45 is suicide. Single biggest cause of death for 15 to 49-year-olds. 19 to 35-year-olds are twice as likely to report being these stats are absolutely shocking, and there's almost 80% of this is men. This crazy stat that people always talk about, the single biggest cause of death if you're under the age of 45.
And before we even dive into that this topic he brought up, I kind of just want to go back to the statistics, right? Because it is insane how many men have to check out of this game of life because they make a permanent decision in a temporary situation. And it doesn't feel temporary to them in that moment. It feels like the weight of the world's collapsing. They feel like they're all alone. They feel like nothing is better and nothing can get better. And it's so easier for me just to leave. And I wanted to point to you, men and women who are struggling with that fallacy of lies that you're constantly repeating in your head because it feels real. It feels like the truth. It feels gospel in the moment that I'm alone. Nobody gets me. The statistics are real. Every single day you wake up, it is a blessing to be alive because some people don't get that. Not because they didn't wake up from it, because they do things that feel like it's better to continue to sleep than to wake up to a new day. And I'm not here to talk about anybody who has went through those struggles and has lost those battles. I'm here to give courage and encouragement to people who are maybe struggling with that thought right now. And if you're watching this, I hope it just touches at least one person and make you feel like, as someone who struggled with depression, as somebody who is literally laid in bed and just fear like there's no way life can get better than this. I'm here to tell you life is so much better. And if you don't have anything to hold on to, I want you to find a man. His name is Jesus Christ. He is the greatest. I want you to be able to find a church community, a church home that teaches him, because he will bring you out of your darkest place. He will leave the 99 to go get that one. He is our King. He's our Lord. He's our Savior. And I want to tell you, as somebody who has struggled with an identity crisis of who am I? As somebody who struggled with understanding my emotions and how to regulate them and what to do and finding healthy ways to regulate them, because it's so easy to find destructive ways to cloud your judgment, to kind of distract yourself from the real underlying issues. I want you to know that you're not alone and somebody's looking up to you, even if you don't even know that. And I trust and I hope this video finds the right person to let you know that you're not alone, especially us men. Especially the men, the young boys out there that are trying to figure out their life and maybe you're on the back end of your life and you don't feel like you have anything else left to do. I promise you, you can make an impact. Every single day you wake up, you can make an impact.
That sheer pressure, it is. And the stats, will tell you. And I keep on saying, I don't know. This is not me trying to say that I thought about it or whatever. Not at all. Not that. But I told you that I'm sure you remember. My kids saved me. And I'm not saying that just like that, but literally. I'll explain. Yeah, I'll explain. I don't know where I was going mentally. I don't know. Really, I don't know where I was going. Because when I came back from COVID, back home, I didn't see, because after that year, we were allowed back home. But then I knew if I was going back to Montreal, I don't know what was happening with COVID, if I was going to not see my kids for a year or whatever. So I'm at home. Next thing you know, it's a month, whatever. I packed my bags. I was about to leave again. So I said bye to my kids. Everybody was there. And you remember when I told you my young me never got any approval, never got any recognition, no, how can I explain that? No love, yeah, in brackets, apart from the we have food, we have this, but it was never a game or saying or nodding or any approval like that. Pack my bag, I'm like, okay, that is about to leave. Next thing you know, I put my bags down and everyone starts to cry. So I put my bags down to say bye to everybody, and everybody starts to cry. From the nanny to my girlfriend to the kids, everybody was crying. And then Steven, for the first time, and I know people say, "Oh my God, Thierry," for the first time, because at that moment it was the little me that felt it. I'm like, oh, they see me. Not the football player, not the accolades, and I felt human.
And I just want to stop there because I think this whole segment, this whole episode has been eye-opening, right? Especially for us, for the high-performing athletes who have, for their whole lives, been known as these alphas, and in a moment where people have always looked up to you as being that high-functioning athlete, you always felt like you were that place where people came to because they needed you. And that's why I asked you earlier, what makes you happy, right? Because and for a lot of us, we've always looked at our work or what we do as something that causes happiness. Well, people sometimes just want to love us. And we get burnt out because we're so tired of having to please and be on the go so much where a lot of times we don't ever feel like we can just be. And for Thierry Henry, like in this moment right here when he's about to leave and his kids are just like, we just want dad. We don't want the footballer, the Hall of Famer, the world-class athlete. We want you. And for him, he said he saved his life because he felt seen. How many times in your life have you felt seen? What have you ever done for yourself that allows you to see you? When you see yourself in the mirror every single day, I know we get older, we know we age. Yes, we might get a little taller, hairier, more wrinkles, but like when you see that childlike version of you, what do you see? Will they recognize you? Would you love yourself unconditionally with the same amount of effort that you give to others? You talked about the pressures of providing, the pressures of being, and obviously for a lot of us who take a different approach and we lose that battle in life because you're going through a different transition in your life, whether it's been a series of unfortunate events, a series of unfortunate losses, whether it's your job or a loved one or a significant other or whatever the case is. You feel like, man, this isn't it anymore. I can't keep going. I just want you to know that you're not alone. You don't have to be to get the love that you deserve that's going to get you through that moment. There's people who just want you to love on you because you are you and you deserve to have you. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have the peace and joy that you constantly give to others. And maybe you don't give others peace and joy. Maybe you've been a misfit your whole life. It's not too late to change. It's not too late to turn a new leaf. It's not too late to turn a new path. I promise you, one small change can make or break your life. Could turn your life a complete 180 if you do it. I really want you to sit down with yourself. Everyone who's watching this video today, I really want you to sit down with yourself. Ask yourself, what makes me happy? What am I doing right now to make myself happy, giving the same amount of effort and love and care that I'm giving to others? Is my career, is my life, is my habits, is how I'm treating others making me happy in the long term? Because if not, it's never too late. Because we all know life moves by pretty quick. And if you blink, you'll miss it. But I'm here to tell you it's never too late to change your life and to be better for yourself and for others. And like I said, if you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe below. We're trying to grow the platform. Like I said, something big is coming in the future. And I just don't want y'all to miss out on it. And when it does, I'm able to share more details because I want to give a tool and some set of a toolkit to people as they're learning and growing in life. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not going to be somebody that says that. But I've learned, I've seen, and I've been able to experience people who have been able to elevate their lives and transition from things to things and being able to be successful, because success is not a monetary gain. And success is how you feel at the end of the day, knowing that you gave your all and you're moving in alignment. That's all we want. We obviously, the monetary is great, but the true fulfillment of being in alignment and moving in a direction that is indicative of where you're wanting to go and where God has put you on this earth to be, that is true success. And I don't want y'all to miss out on that because He has something for you if you're open to hearing it. Thank you again. Like I said, I'll be back. We'll be dropping episodes daily. And please like, share, subscribe. Thank you.